Attention gamers, as you know Uncle Rito just gave crit items a full makeover, like big enhancements, cheaper than ever, harder hitting, and the bottom line is now for 1100 gold you can get the same amount of crit than you previously needed, like 3 grand minimum. And while this is drastically lowering the suicide rates of ADC players across the world, it's also causing a rather unique build to emerge where at 14 minutes into the game we are seeing young gun sluts with 70% crit due to some suspicious purchasing behavior. Fast forward 2 more minutes and we're at 90% crit. Hold the phone at just 17 minutes. ADCs are critting literally every single time they caress that right click button on their mouses, and with that kind of power they are snowballing harder than ever and hitting full build in games faster than ever before. And this is foolproof, so the plan was for me to hop into some games and show it off until I was met with the nightmare known as Game 1. I had the Frosted Tips and Nips Archer as a support, which is fine, that's a real pick, except for the fact that she was non-verbally gaslighting me into thinking she was the ADC by trying to CS in lane and not building a support item, which upped the difficulty on the whole farming thing for me, as I now had an extra sentient minion with unpredictable timing trying to nab my gold. This was made worse when she positioned worse than a screen door on a submarine, and I had to use both my sums to try and bail her out, which failed miserably and resulted in her having the audacity to ping me. We exchanged a few words where she revealed to just be another League of Legends player that I'm oh so grateful to meet, and then I continued fighting for CS against my support as she continued to work her ass off to ensure that the enemy team was as fed as possible. It was at this point where amongst my own flaming I noticed that their mid laner was asking ours why he was left on read, and that's because she couldn't let Ashe upstage her as the biggest failed abortion on my team, so she had to AFK, resulting in a downward spiral and a 7-minute surrender. Thanks Riot, just don't let it happen again. Psych. Welcome the fuck to game 2, where I had a support this time who built a support item, so we were already improving in that department, and despite him playing 2 football fields behind me all game, we were still finding our spots to get ahead. Sure, we had that one hiccup. Let's play. Why would a blitzcrank be pathing like he wants to fight when his ADC just died? The only answer the show could possibly think to put here is that his jungler is right fucking behind him. So Xerath, what is your answer? But once again, that was just the icing to the piss pit game community cherry, as 8 minutes into the game our resident windshitter died and decided he's gonna go play some Bikini Bottom Skin Dark Souls game instead. So once again 4v5 things started happening and we got to waste another 20 minutes. We interrupt this program with breaking news from post-apocalyptic Tokyo. The dark humor on this channel is finally getting sponsored by a game with dark lore, an unnerving atmosphere, and deadly demons. Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance is not only something worth trying to say 5 times fast, but it is also an expanded version of perhaps the most highly rated original in its genre. You get to play through multiple storylines as if you are battling through a dank anime, as you are engrossed in some dark-ass lore filled with tragic choices that plays nicely into engaging combat that actually feels rewarding when you hit your buttons. The characters are like the perfect mix between manga murder and mommy, and the demons span across all shapes, sizes and abilities. It's available on all of these platforms and is coming out on June 14th, and is a game worth playing through the dark storyline at least once, so use my link below to check it out. And let's get back to my struggles with League of Legends. Attempt number 3 of getting just a regular game with 10 humans, and I had a science support, so you can probably guess what he was all about. That said, it quickly became apparent that their support shares the same brain cell deficiency disorder as ours, and I was hopeful that if I played around it better than their ADC, this could finally be a real game. Until 5 minutes in, when their Caitlyn decided she didn't want to deal with any Make-A-Wish supports today and peaced out. And I don't know what this punishment is for leaving games, but considering attempt number 4 ended the same way and I had now wasted over an hour just trying to play the game, so can we make it a bit worse? Riot, like sell that person's data to China or something? Oh wait, that's punishment just installing the game now. Welcome to the first real game, and if you are pissed it took 3 minutes to get here, just know that I played 20 fucking games just to get 2 that were 5v5s for this video, so when I saw buy support or not I could care less as long as she didn't rage quit. Sure, she made some sus calls earlier on that had me questioning her intelligence, and yeah, we did have that one hiccup. And yes, I did refuse to help, but it's because I could not condition her into thinking this behavior was acceptable, because I knew if I stayed strong and we could get through me having to give some tough parenting, we would be okay. The early game plan was to now use my big fist small cerebellum supports moronic aggression to bait a big fight where both of us would get impaled many a time by spearmint toothpicks and just pray to Rift Jesus that our jungler would be there to bail us out. Then I would return the favor by hitting a little whitewater raft and rip a weaponless Willy into shreds, which prompted a full-blown gang war, which does make sense because we were around Drake, but after a baker's dozen right clicks I was well on my way to generational wealth. This also gave me some alone time with this statue, but bobbing Brittany didn't appreciate the vandalism, so she came in thinking she could police my behavior, but clearly she didn't hear about the whole Piltover thing, so I was like, girl, blue bitches get stitches, and then I threaded a goddamn needle potato for the kill. Their Teletubbies looking support was left with half health and a dream under tower, and I just knew Big Sis was gonna get all feisty with the K-pop goat, so I lended a thin beam and we scored the assist. The first statue fell, and now we were just unlocked to take our full aggression over our parents getting jizzed on by some privileged mall cop riot out on this cha-cha sliding alien, and this funded a 3-for-1 BOGO special with Boris, which brought me to 70% crit over and an edge of infinity, which makes every crit hit for 50% more damage, and needless to say things were already feeling freaky, as a double kill funded enough crit to bring it to 90%, and I figured the best way to test this power was to just toggle auto attack run on their enemy ADC and walk out of the room to see if my critting leaves Callista shitting, and it indeed was looking like the case. Their Jax may not have had a real weapon, but his boots were steel tipped, so he did have real armor, but side benefit of this build is it makes you Keemstar fast, so I just kited him out and killed him. Bouncing Brittany was struggling with the fact that one of Riot's recent reworked champs was in the game while I was Amazon priming our Oppenheimer memorabilia for the road. It was just 20 minutes into the game, but I was upgrading some of my crit elements and all of the movement speed made staying safe in the back very nice, plus every takedown I was snorting Charlie Sheen amounts of coke off corpses so that I could stay alive in the face of people trying to say see you later alligator, and while I did crit 100% of the time, my W's were landing only roughly 10% of the time, so I just stuck to the whole auto attack turn brain off type of gameplay. Because I have a severe aversion to proper positioning, I would just keep my rockets toggled on for the range and rely on the fact that I have over 2.0 attack speed with this build, which was enough to kill and not be killed. Fights would extend into the mid lane after party where some Steve Irwin simp tried to tickle me only to get butt blasted into a bad situation. This left cat who was standing still seemingly giving up, a strategy that I later learned was very much just some stupid mind games that people who play that spinning shit stain like to play with squishy targets. But anyways, blast from the past in the intro, I was now pretty much full build in record time, paired with the fact that only Randy Reptile seemed to understand what a focused target was, and unfortunately that strategy requires a group to commit for you to not look like a dumb shit, so I snorted my celebrator booger sugar and continued chafing the shit out of my right click button's armpits, knowing that a full build jinx in this game is so easy a Yasuo main could do it, as we finished off the ace. That said, we weren't out of the woods yet. My team wanted to give up, the kill count was close, and thanks to an Omega Death Rocket we barely defended a counter push where I chased down the heel queefing goat, nabbed an elder, and then used it to wrap up the first game, showing that a crit component rush can be a dank gateway drug to full build. And then I queued up for a second. Sticking to the theme of arcane characters, I rolled the nepotism hire in the Piltover Sheriff's Department for Game 2, and let me tell you, the people in this game were so dumb they would be out of their depth in a parking lot puddle, so like the son of a CEO, I was off to a good start financially. This was further pushed as Pink Floyd's dog seemed to mistake me for an ADC of the bot lane breed, thinking she could just one-shot me with no items, which launched a quick game of patty cake where yours truly took the crown, and then a fashionably late gank arrived, but this bitch doesn't know how to toggle off self-driving, so she walked into a trap and then had to face her own arachnophobia head-on, which turned out to be a bit much. To make matters worse, their top laner heard about his champ and how to proxy, but failed to read about the part where this takes place in a lane with minions, so he died without accomplishing anything notable before the pink pup came in to knowingly accept her trade of a kill for a kill, an agreement every assassin is down to take. Then I figured this graffitied golden retriever could use some ticks, so I called an insect in to do the whole itsy bitsy spider up the water spout, and down came a tower dive and a homicide and a sack of cash for yours truly routine. But as my accomplice was making her great escape, she ran into one of those automated possessed Annies, came out with a vengeance, so I lent a hand as Riot chose this time of all times to have pinpoint precise hitboxes, but it didn't matter, the voodoo doll died anyways. My opposing mid laner was feeling quite nomadic at this point in the game, and so I would occasionally roam up and put in a long days of work to earn more kills. And I'm going to tell you straight guys, this Pyke was board certified dog shit, but I appreciated every single thing he did for me because he kept the enemy from surrendering early, and we all know I had enough of those making this video while also setting me up for more kills. And at this point I was already almost full build with 70% crit, so typically a 1v1 with an assassin is bad news bears, but it turns out if you are legendary and they are utter trash at the game, you can hold your own and attribute it to your troll build. #League of Legends YouTubing. Pyke was continuing to do God's work with the behavior outlined before, as I remained appreciative, and shortly after I was rocking 95% crit, and let you tell me this was feeling good as shit at this point in the game on the mall cop, as it was turning into another good snowball, until they surrendered early. So give it a try, let me know how it goes, or if you can even get into a 5v5 game, and I'll see you in the next one. Rav out.